Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going over the electoral map for 2024. They will be doing a new electoral map for the 2024 election after the US Census, which has been taken in 2020. And I'm asking an interesting question is, can the Republican Party still continue to win elections if they both lose Georgia and Arizona? So before I get into the video, I do want to say if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel so you always get updated whenever I post a new video. So first I'm going to fill in the electoral map, how it went in the 2020 election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So this is how the election went, and I mean this map has become familiar to a lot of people since the election, and 2020 was a very interesting election, all things considered, where Joe Biden was able to win back the Rust Belt, not be it by like impressive numbers. He won it very, very close and very, very narrowly for a Democrat. Obama for instance, did much better in the Rust Belt, as did Bill Clinton. However, Joe Biden was able to win it nonetheless. But the question still needs to be asked, will Republicans be able to rebound in the states that they lost? So if the 2020 election was done in 2024, the Republicans would get 236, Democrats would get 302. So the Republicans would have a net gain of 4 electoral votes if it went the same way. The big key was the Rust Belt was always going to be a big contentious point for what was going on in the election. But the big thing that a lot of people were surprised by was Arizona and Georgia. These are two states that consistently voted Republican since at least Bill Clinton. And the Democrats are able to win them both. So, with Arizona going to the Democrats and Georgia, and now the Democrats have control of both Senate seats in those states. Both of them have Republican governors still. However, 2022 is likely probably going to change that. At least the early projections are it's going to change that. So, Democrats will have control over Arizona and Georgia unless something changes. Can Republicans still win? The quick answer is yes. The Republicans can win by going into the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and winning these 3 states along with the other states President Trump won in 2020. But it's important to also realize that that's assuming everything else stays the same. If the Republicans, for instance, say lose Texas, and we see in Texas what happened in Arizona and Georgia of a lot of Democrats from more liberal states like California and New York moving to Texas and turning it blue, Republicans are pretty much screwed. If Republicans lose Texas, they pretty much have no shot at winning, unless for Republicans to win and lose Texas, they have to win Nevada without winning Arizona and Georgia as well. They have to win Nevada, New Hampshire, Minnesota. That gets them to 258. Then they would have to win in Colorado and Nebraska's 2nd District and maybe Maine at large as well. Now, if you're just looking at this map looks very, very weird. There's no way the Republicans are going to be winning Colorado, and there's no way they're going to be winning Maine and Minnesota while losing Texas, Arizona, and Georgia. So if you think this map looks very weird, it's because it does. This map will not happen. I mean, New Hampshire being red at this time looks kind of weird, to be honest. So that is the question. If Republicans, number one, Republicans have to hold Texas. If Republicans hold Texas, it makes it a lot easier for them. But if Republicans do lose the Rust Belt, and they lose Georgia, and they lose Arizona for good, then it's a lot harder for Republicans. Republicans can still, I think the future of the Republican Party needs to be at trying to win back Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, which President Trump did win, and for the Republicans to target 3 states in particular: Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Nevada. The reason that I'm pointing out these states is because New Hampshire's 4 electoral votes and Minnesota's 9. That equals 13. Plus Nevada's 6. That equals 19 electoral votes. 19 electoral votes makes up Georgia plus 3 or Arizona's plus 7. So if Republicans can win Nevada, Minnesota, and New Hampshire, then they really technically don't need to win Arizona or Georgia. The question is, No Republican has been able to win Minnesota, I believe, since Reagan, or Bush. Reagan or Bush. No Republican has won New Hampshire since since George W. Bush in 2000, and I believe no one Republican has won Nevada since George Bush as well. However, we did see President Trump improve his margins in Nevada. President Trump did greatly improve in Minnesota in 2016, and percentage-wise, I think he performed a little worse in Minnesota in 2020. But New Hampshire also was a 7-point victory for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. So New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Nevada could go red if everything goes right, but it's very, very hard to confidently say, oh, these are absolutely sure bets from the Republicans when it hasn't happened yet. So if the Republican Party is going to continue to lose Arizona and Georgia, they have to win the Rust Belt. If they lose one of the Rust Belt states, like Wisconsin, for instance, the Republicans would still win by 2 electoral votes, the closest margin of victory any Republican or Democrat could get. And that's if they lose Wisconsin, which, in my opinion, Wisconsin is the most Republican of the 3 Rust Belt states. If they lose Michigan, forget it. The Republicans are not going to win. If the Republicans win Michigan but lose Pennsylvania, forget it. That's the issue for the Republicans. If they lose Arizona and Georgia, they can lose one of the 3 Rust Belt states, but it would have to be Wisconsin, which is the most conservative one. The 2 more liberal of the 3 Rust Belt states are the 2 they need to hold on to the most, which is why the Republicans should be putting all of their effort into winning back Arizona, Georgia, flipping Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And in the event something goes wrong, the Republican Party needs to start putting more effort into New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Nevada. Because if the Republicans do again lose Arizona and Georgia, and say they lose Michigan, they can't count on just Wisconsin and Pennsylvania to carry them. 246, 265. They're not going to win with just that unless they pick up New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Nevada, unless they pick up 2 out of the 3. Now, if Republicans are able to flip back Nebraska's 2nd district, that makes it a lot easier, because then they would just need to win New Hampshire. Then they could say Nevada and Minnesota might be important, but we really don't need them. But as long as Nebraska's 2nd district stays blue, this one tiny district can make things a lot harder, because then Democrats win in Minnesota and Nevada, the election's tied, it goes to the House of Representatives. The Republicans need to win back this district, and that way, if the Republicans do lose in Michigan, but win Wisconsin and Pennsylvania while losing Georgia and Arizona, they could just win New Hampshire. But New Hampshire voted 7 points for Joe Biden. Let's say they can't win back New Hampshire. Well, Republicans could target Nevada maybe. Nevada voted for Joe Biden over President Trump by only about 3 points. That's not the biggest margin of victory. It's not too bad. President Trump maybe can make a run at Nevada and try to win there. Let's say he can't win Nevada. Okay. Minnesota. President Trump did overperform for Republicans in Minnesota. Minnesota is very well in that Rust Belt vein of it has not voted for a Republican in a while, but if anyone can do it, President Trump and the Trump-like Republican might be able to. Not to mention if Mike Lindell does run for governor in 2022, and if he is able to win, that could maybe show a changing of the guard in Minnesota, and maybe Republicans might have a better shot at winning nationwide. I don't know if Mike Lindell's going to run or if he's going to win, but I'm saying if something like that happens, that could be a key indicator of maybe the times are changing in Minnesota. But the point is, if Arizona and Georgia go blue, the electoral map is harder for the Republicans, because those are 2 Republican states that they kind of written off for the last 20 years or so that were always going to be in the Republican column. If the 2020 election occurred in 2024 and President Trump won Arizona and Georgia, just those 2 states, Democrats only win 274 to 264. And then President Trump could win any one of the Rust Belt states he won last time, or even Nevada or Minnesota, and Donald Trump or the Republicans would win. So, Republicans should be putting all their effort into trying to retake Arizona and Georgia. And don't forget, in Indiana in 2008, Obama flipped it. No one thought that, okay, well, Indiana won't reflip in 2012. Arizona and Georgia are a lot different, where this has been a trend of the Democrats doing better in recent elections. This might be blue for good. The Republicans need, at the very bare minimum, to reflip one of Arizona or Georgia. And in my personal opinion, I think Georgia is probably easier to reflip than Arizona is. Arizona looks like it's in the same mold of Colorado and New Mexico, where it used to vote Republican, but the mass immigration into the state have kind of turned it blue. If Republicans could even lose Arizona but flip back Georgia, then that makes it easier for the Republicans as well. Give them Wisconsin, 262, 276. Give them one of the other Rust Belt states, and they win. Oh, not Ohio. And then give them Pennsylvania, they win. So, long story short, Democrats are in a very good spot with Georgia and Arizona. Republicans need to flip them back, or they're going to be giving themselves a massive headache in terms of elections to come. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.